What's going on for me? Don't be scared of challenging. Embrace life's challenges. Although Who Moved My Cheese isn't an old parable, but its message is just as important. Believing in yourself as well as coping with life's major change with grace and finding the right path to achieve your goals. These are the issues that everyone struggles with in their daily lives. In this tale, the four characters are trapped in a maze. There are two mice who are known as Sniff and Scurry, as well as two people known as Ham as well as Haw. While they wander through the maze in search of cheese, they realize that their quest isn't just to search for food, but an effort to gain a better understanding of the human condition. In this video, you will discover how to prepare yourself for a life-changing event, why using the mindset of the simple mouse may better aid you in reaching your goals, how to visualize your goals in order to increase the likelihood of achieving your goals. Cheese or success in life could be causing you to feel overwhelmed. Two mice named Sniff as well as Scurry aren't bothered by things often. Instead, they spend their time walking along the maze corridors looking for cheese. This seems to be a brainless way in which the two mice go about reaching their goals is informative and can be the most efficient way of getting to your objectives. Actually, not thinking too much could help you save the time as well as energy. When there's nothing but cheese at the bottom of a trail such as Sniff and Scurry, simply change direction and walk through the other path without the need to be unhappy or angry. Ham as well as Haw were also seeking some cheese within the maze, however, not for the sake of being hungry. Instead, they believed that they could find cheese that could make them feel satisfied and prosperous. Utilizing their complex brains, Ham and Haw devised strategies to locate cheese by memorizing all the dark and secluded corners as well as obscure alleyways. But despite all their planning, they frequently lost their ways and occasionally lost their direction. When they failed to find their way and were depressed, they began thinking that happiness might never be possible. As we go through real life, we often overcomplicate things. We not only get caught up in our thoughts about things or events as well, but we also tend to become too attached to the status that is. Then Ham and Haw found the largest amount of fancy imported cheese in one corridor in Cheese Station C. Each day, they were sure to get up early and then visit the cheese station for a bite. But their lives slowly started to revolve around the meal in Cheese Station C. They were at home there and felt very happy about it, but they began to take the place for to be a luxury. Similar to Ham and Haw, when we discovered happiness or our cheese, we could quickly become dependent to the point that our lives revolve about the idea of cheese. Positive situations don't last forever, so it is important to be well prepared. The two of them, Ham and Haw, were awake one day and were shocked there was no cheese in their fridge. In reality, change happens at some point or another. Be aware of this fact can aid you in keeping a close focus on the current circumstances and better prepare for the changes that are coming. Sniff and Scurry did not take the supply for granted and always kept on the lookout for any possible changes to the quantity of cheese. Therefore, Sniff and Scurry observed that the quantity of cheese was gradually but steadily decreasing. If you believe that things will stay the same, you might miss indicators that indicate that things are changing. Ham as well as Haw were so enthralled by this cheese they failed to realize the amount of cheese being absorbed or when the cheese began to take on a mold. Sometimes what we think about ourselves can make it difficult to accept changes. If you believe you are entitled to the best health, success or endless amount of cheese, any action that takes these things from you feels unfair, to the point that you may even refuse the reality that change is taking place in the first place. Ham and Haw were convinced they felt that Cheese Station C was a reward for their efforts. After all, they had spent a lot of time searching for it. When the catch was finally gone, they didn't believe it. You don't want to be in this situation. Keep an eye out for any signs of change in your life and adjust to it as quickly as you can. The faster you adapt, then the quicker you will be back on track. When Sniff and Scurry discovered the fact that Cheese Station C was almost empty in cheeses, they left without worrying about it. They were fortunate to find an abundance of cheese at a different station called Cheese Station N. Ham and Haw were not as fortunate. In a state of denial with the pressure, they continued to return to the station that was empty, becoming more hungry, depressed, and weak. Learn by this pair of little people. The less you debate and the faster you can adapt to changing circumstances, your surroundings, the more comfortable you will be. Setting goals can help you get over the fear that hinders you from tackling changes. Why do we like Ham and Haw who are blinded by major changes? It's fear. Fear is the reason why confronting change is so difficult. In the end, change demands you to face the new circumstances and wrestle with new rules. It can be disorienting and stressful, which is why it is normal to be afraid of changes. For instance, after they realized they were stuck at an unfilled cheese station C, Ham and Haw were forced to go back into the maze to search for food. They were worried that they could be lost or find themselves in a dark alley without a way out. However, remember this, if you are afraid of moving out of your comfort zone, the situation will never improve. Imagine that your spouse has gone away or an injury has prevented you from playing your preferred sport. The feeling of loss of love moment will be devastating. It is unlikely that you will get back to normal until you discover a new method of filling your life with things that bring happiness. This means you have to need to search for something different. Although Ham as well as Haw were full of food, they were afraid to try new paths through the maze. Instead, they hit on the walls in Cheese Station C to check if they could find something edible to eat behind them. However, it was all for nothing. Haw finally found a great station to his anxiety. He imagined himself sitting on the top of a massive wedge of his most loved cheese, soft rind French brie. In fact, visualizing your goal in detail will boost your motivation to achieve it. If you are stuck or unable to overcome your fears, imagine your desired outcome. This will ignite your passion and help you find the motivation to continue moving forward. Take the risk of moving in an entirely new direction and things will improve. After having visualized his goal, Haw moved on to search for a new cheese. However, Ham did not change his mind. He remained at the cheese stand with a swollen and angry face, and most importantly, from being able to leave to look for cheese, while at the same time Haw's experiences improved tremendously. If you take a step into a new direction, you will learn to better accept changes. If you can conquer your fears once and then next time you face a challenge, you will be able to take the next step. Do not let fear stop you like it did in the past. Haw discovered the strength to go on even when the journey was lonely and scared at the beginning of his journey. However, he gradually became more confident. Even though he only stumbled across some pieces of cheese at first, but he was happy to have made it this far. The way he lived his life felt more comfortable now that he wasn't in the grip of his anxieties. Haw has learned a valuable lesson, that is, the worry that is accumulated in your mind prior to deciding to change direction is often more intense than the new circumstance actually merits. When you get moving, you can be sure that things will get better. There are times when the new circumstances could be cheeseless, but don't worry, you will find every new cheese to discover. The fresh cheese could be new champion, a brand career change, or an entirely new approach to handling conflicts or conduct business. Slowly, Haw began to regain full confidence and strength. In a state of excitement, he walked around for the best way to get through until he located Cheese Station N along with lots of cheese, the exact spot that Sniff and Scurry were throughout the entire time. Learn the lessons through the cheesy parable to reach your objectives. How to learn from the lesson? Learn from the story to benefit of your organization or your own life. Think about telling your employees the tale that tells the story of Ham, Haw, Sniff and Scurry. They might start to think more positive about the possibility of change and the positive effects it can provide to an organization. You can also gain important information through asking employees what character they are familiar with. For instance, those who are drawn to the mouse, Sniff and Scurry might become the catalyst for change your company requires. Individuals who identify as Sniff are great observers. They can spot the smallest changes and are able to predict the future of larger changes in a market. The sniffer can also uncover new angels and products or even refresh a company's vision for the future. The people that are scurry, on the contrary, prefer to finish their work. They are motivated to act according to a fresh corporate strategy. It is true that the hams of your organization are in reality insecure during times of transition. This can be concerned particularly if they are not in a position to transform it into horse. You will have to be determined to demonstrate the ways in which changes can be used to the benefit of your employees. The experiences of little people and mice can help your team keep an eye out for opportunities that are new. Consider how our story concludes. While there are plenty of cheese in Cheese Station N, Haw had learned the lesson and continued to explore the maze in search of additional stores. In reality, what will work today might not work in the future. Remember that even when things appear great, be sure to keep your eyes out for exciting new opportunities.